Hello and how are you doing? Welcome to Breakfast with Timau Youth Online. This is Youth Split, a show that tackles matters concerning the youth, be it career, business, art, and spirituality, or anything that is revolving around the youth. And our main goal is that you'll have a clearer and a closer understanding of your life's journey, and we hope to journey it with you. My name is Shell Jogo, and today we are starting a new series called Health and Youth. And to start off, we will talk about nutrition, and with me I have a lovely guest with me. Her name is Purity Wambui. Hello, Purity.
Hello, Sharon. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You're welcome to Youth Split.
Thank you a lot. I am certainly blessed to be here. I first of all thank God for this opportunity to be here with you. You're such a lovely lady. First of all, I can say that because by your smile immediately I knew definitely you have great things in store for these people. So just to introduce myself,
Right.
My name is Purity Muthuita. Just for a joke, some people call me Mutwita, others call Muthuta. So with wherever you come from, call me whatever you want, but my name is Muthuita. Yes, I am still a miss, yet to be a missus. So please pray for me. And I am a nutritionist by profession. I did my nutrition in Kenyatta University. I did from the first year to the fourth year, and also wanting to pursue in my master's also, but I would want to pursue pediatric nutrition because I have a thing for children, a soft spot for children. Basically, it's because I think I have been able to work at Kenyatta Hospital, Mama Lucy Hospital. So I've been able to see the kind of struggles that children go through. I've also worked at Kirdi. Kirdi is at South Sea. They have two branches, South Sea and another one in Kisumu. We deal with research. In full, Kirdi is Kenya Industrial Research Development Institute. So we develop products for people, and I was basically in the food division because I'm a food nutritionist. I also have a background of food science, so it goes hand in hand with nutrition. So far, so good.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and you're welcome to Youth Split. So let's just start off. Let us understand what nutrition is. And because we are going also to talk about diet, so please explain for us nutrition and diet.
Great. So nutrition, I'd like to use very simple terms. Nutrition is basically a science. First of all, to emphasize to people, nutrition is a science. It basically is a science that deals with study of food and nutrients. Two, also it's a science that involves the study of the gastrointestinal tract, all the way from your mouth to your anus. So the whole part of that organ, we do this. It's a scientific study. So anything that involves that tract, from ingestion to egestion, and also the transportation of nutrients, the transportation of the components of food to every other body organ. I would like to use that. I bet it's a simpler definition.
Right. So let's get into understanding body metabolism.
Before we go to metabolism, you had mentioned diet.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, so diet is basically how you are able to arrange your meals and for them to work out for your body functions. I would want to use another meaning, but for the sake of understanding. For example, there are people who would want to do 5 meals a day. Others would want to do 2 meals a day. I'm getting to metabolism. Others would want to do 10 meals a day. I've encountered people in gyms, they would do 10 meals a day because this person's level of activity is high. So one meal to that person is a mockery. But they would want to do 10 meals. Probably they're doing their first meal at 6 a.m. and their last meal at 9 p.m. in the night. So dieting, there's diet and there's dieting. Diet basically is your composition of your meals per day. How do you want your meals to be structured? And that's where meal planning coming. We'll come to talk about meal planning.
Right.
So metabolism is now down to the chemical reactions, down to the cellular, or rather the how the cells function, how they carry out nutrients from food to your body. And we all have different kinds of metabolism. The way we say that people who have a rat metabolism and the people who have an elephant metabolism.
Meaning?
Yes. Meaning, you can eat small food at very frequent times, and others can eat one wholesome meal, but once in a day. So there are people who, for example, their metabolism does not allow them to have large meals. So they are able to break down that meals into small portions because their body is not able to carry out the body functions as in one large setting. But the people, for example, the way I used an example for gym people. For them, they need to increase the level of metabolism because they do a strenuous activity in a short span. So the body needs to know how to regulate that kind of food, which is a wholesome meal, to be able to help them to generate energy in a short span. But there are people whom they don't really do a lot of activities. So eventually, when they take probably maybe a boiled egg, they are able to stay with that boiled egg for even 2 hours because they're not doing something strenuous. However, metabolism is affected by different factors. Your age, are you male or female? Are you active or not? Are you living a sedentary lifestyle or are you active? Are you elderly or are you young? So there are different kind of factors that actually affect your metabolism because how a toddler eats is not how a teenager eats. It's not how a young adult eats, and it's not how your grandma eats. Exactly. So, and at the same time, how a young adult who is in sports and a young adult who is not in sports, their metabolism are different because one requires a lot of energy, another one not really. Yes, so probably when you're going through, you'll be able to understand more about metabolism.
Yeah, and so let me ask. I think I'm in this category of people. We just make a joke where you just sniff chocolate and your body just starts to expand.
Yeah.
And then there are these kind of people who eat the same snack. You work in the same environment, but still they are slimmer.
What we've encountered so many people who actually we call them by the slapping of a crepes, they grow fat. So what happens with such kind of people? Their metabolism is very high. We call them the rat metabolism. Their body functions so rapidly. Their cells are able to transfer body functions. For example, Your liver needs to work out some activities like digest fat, digest proteins. So for that person who has a higher metabolism, for them, they really don't have to struggle. It is eat and go. But there are people who their metabolism is really slow. But sometimes you can find out that others, people whom their metabolism is slow, can also be affected by how they eat. Because probably you're watching the television and you're eating. Your mind is functioning and your stomach is functioning. You are distorting the functions of the body. So sometimes it's usually very advised to tell people, be at a place where you can be able to eat quickly if you know your metabolism is low. Because the ones who their metabolism is high, they really don't need that, because their body is in constant functionality. Their kidneys are working, their hearts are working, their brains are working even.
Right. Okay. Now that brings back some memories that maybe we shouldn't share here. But so let's talk about losing and gaining weight. I think it's quite connected to body metabolism, where we feel if I need to lose weight, then I need to maybe eat less, which is, I think, dieting. And then there is this person who wants to gain weight, and they are trying to even eat junk so that they can add weight. So what's your take on losing and gaining weight?
I would prefer to start with gaining weight.
Yeah.
The biggest misconception that people do is that when you eat junk, you think you're going to grow fat. Yes, you are going to grow fat, but not the healthy way. You are going to grow fat the unhealthy way. In that, you ingest so much processed salt, you ingest so much processed fats, you ingest so much simple carbohydrates. When I say simple carbohydrates, I mean the carbohydrates you're taking have been broken down to the point that they're just calories. They're just giving you energy. And the energy you take, the more you take a lot of calories, the more it is stored inside your body. And when it's stored, one biological concept, I think probably if we did biology, if you remember our biology, it goes and it's stored as glycogen. So too much glycogen, which comes from processed carbs, is unhealthy because it is translated to fats, and that's very unhealthy. So you've increased your sodium level, you've increased your salts inside your body, the chlorides, the electrolytes are imbalanced. So what you end up with is a big body but unhealthy. And when you come to the point of now wanting to lose that fat, losing that processed carbs, if I can call it becomes strenuous. It becomes worse than even how it was in the beginning. Because now you look at, how am I going to balance my salts? When I say salt, I mean sodium, I say magnesium, I mean fluoride. Because all of these things are needed for our bone marrows, they're needed for our bones, they're needed for our skins, and they're needed also for our kidneys. So that's where things like kidney stones enter. Because you've taken a lot of salt that have come from processing.
Right.
So gaining weight, when you want to gain weight, kindly do avoid junk food at all times. Yes, we might tell you that cheat days, we call them cheat days. We tell them, oh, go have a bit of fries, go have a bit of nyama choma, but not as frequent. If you really want to grow fat, or rather gain weight, let me use that word. If you really want to gain weight, other people want to say, how can I grow fat? But if you really want to gain weight the healthy way, look for food sources that have high but good cholesterol. A very good example, avocado. Another example is nuts. All kind of nuts. Be it pumpkin seed and all the other seeds, because they contain oils that are translated to good fats. So gaining weight really is dependent on the food sources that you ingest. Gaining weight gaining weight is entirely on the food composition on your plate. Normally, if I can be able to go a bit further, normally on your plate you're supposed to have half vegetables, and then the other side you do proteins and you do starch, because vegetables, they give you vitamins and minerals that help to bind the carbohydrates in starch and the proteins in any food sources that you've come. Maybe it's from plant proteins or animal proteins. So when you restrict vitamins, the way people say, I don't take cabbage, I don't take managu, I don't take spinach, you're doing a big harm to yourself if you really want to gain weight. Because what you're doing, your muscle will be reduced, your fat levels will be increased, and then your bones will be stressed out. That's how I put it. And then when your bones are stressed out, you now start coming with things like calcium deficiencies, because they are now trying to sort out itself to find calcium from the body. Now, the problem with this is not so many people see this until you go to the hospital. I really appreciated this when I went into a hospital setup, because people who are obese and people who are anorexic, they come and you're like, they are actually people who are anorexic. You would count their ribs. And there are people who have rolls on their hands, like you see that tummy tucks and stuff. And you're like, how did you get here? And they will tell you, I do not know. Some will tell you maybe I lack for the anorexic. And for the obese, they will tell you, I just eat whatever I find. Anyhow. Now that's a very big problem. Gaining weight, one, needs discipline, because as much as losing weight needs discipline, gaining weight also needs discipline. You don't eat recklessly. You eat strategically. Because you're either straining your skin to expand so that it can be able to accommodate fat, and you're not working out for your muscle to become firm. So you're still losing at the end. 2, gaining weight needs being able to tell yourself, I'm going to have 3 meals a day. What are my 3 meals a day? Am I going to be having a super meal in the morning? A super meal, I do mean that you're going to have a complex starch. A complex starch, what do I mean? The likes of arrowroots, the likes of ngwashi, what are they called?
Sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes. I call them ngwashi a lot because when you're in a hospital setup, you don't meet people who tell you this. They're like, we'll be eating ngwashi every day. Yes, ngwashi, yes. You'll be eating yams, cassavas. We less at the times where we mention things like potatoes, because potatoes, yes, they are starch, but they are not the perfect starch, or rather I can call them, they're not the complex starch which you'd recommend. However, the same kind of foods I'm mentioning is the same kind of foods I'll mention in the losing weight. And this is why. When I'm telling a person to gain weight, to eat yams and arrowroots, they would think that will give me satiability. Like, I will become full too quickly. So why should I eat something that will make me become full quickly and I want to eat a lot? That's the question. I want to eat a lot of things at once so that when I sit down, I know it is being processed. So I know if I eat fries, it's being processed. If I eat eggs, it's being processed. If I eat, what else do people like eating? Meat,
Pizza.
pizzas and burgers. That's what they want to hear. When you take pizzas and sodas, you want to hear, now I've taken a lot of things. Now all these things I know when I sit down, they're being processed into fat and I'm going to gain weight. No. What happens is when it will be efficient for you if you take 2 servings. When I say 2 servings, normally when you will tell people for your ugali, you're supposed to be like this fist normally. So I'm telling you, the same thing to arrowroots, the same things to yam, the same things to sweet potatoes. So when I'm telling you this, I'm telling you, no, at least take 2. Because now what I'm telling you is, yes, I'm telling you to take starch, but I'm telling you to take healthy starch. And like I'm telling you, go and take fries and take 2 packets of fries. At the end, that fries has been fried by oils that are not healthy. Some of them we hear they are fried with transformer oil.
Right.
And you expect this person to actually gain weight the healthy way. Some of these people, the oils that they have been used, it has been added other salts. And that makes it even worse because now, apart from the oil itself having salt, you've added salt, the likes of KFC fries, likes of chicken in fries. You see how they're very crispy and stuff? It is because the oil itself has, it's usually called, what's that name again? It's a fryer. I know it's a fryer that it's usually helped to make the oil not clump up. When they use the salad oil, you see how when you cook normal fries, the fries soak in oil. But when these restaurants, they try a lot to use a fryer that when you insert the fries inside, the oil capacity will remain the same, of which you have to add other things into that oil. Now that is processed. It's for that oil to remain in the same capacity because they're trying to be, in the cost production, they're trying to make the maths add up. So if they were using 20 liters today, they'll be saying, we have to remain with at least 19 liters today. It's not like the way you in your kitchen, when you cook fries with 1 liter of oil, you most likely won't have 1 liter of oil at the end because your potatoes will have soaked in the oil. So you see, gaining weight with junk food really does a lot of harm, not only to your gastrointestinal tract, but also to your kidneys, also to your liver, because the bile juices and the pancreas that helps the liver also to digest fat becomes exhausted. So if you take a lot of fat, a lot of salt every day, what you're doing to your pancreas and what you're doing to your liver is telling them, boss, you're not secreting enough biles for us. You're not secreting enough juices for us. Kindly overwork yourself to meet the demands. That's what you're telling these organs. And then the kidneys will be like, yo, bro, no, we cannot do this. It is too much. And then things like kidney stones start coming in. And then the veins will be like, we cannot pump blood any longer. So the valves start becoming weak because now fat has now entered. It depends with your body type. You're either growing fat within or you're growing fat with the outside. Because it's either fat is outside your veins or it's inside your veins. Yeah. So you're either constraining the vein or you're making the vein have higher blood. Now you see where blood pressure comes in. And that's why you've ever met a person who is standard weight and they have high blood pressure, and you'd wonder. It's because this person has ingested a lot of junk, probably, or rather a lot of starch. There's one misconception probably I'll clear out. It is not mafuta. It is not fat that makes people fat, but it is a lot of starch, because starch eventually is stored as fat in the body. So that's why you'd see somebody who you think has a standard weight with high blood pressure, is because for them, instead of the fat coming outside the vein or outside the artery, it goes inside the artery, and then it causes pressure. So on the other flip side of the coin, losing weight. Now, losing weight is a discipline for the same strategy. Consider the starch you're taking. Consider the proteins you're taking. The other day, I just learned that when you eat rice and beans, it is like eating meat, because the amino acids that are in rice and the amino acids that are in beans, when you add them together, they form the amino acid in meat.
Ouch. Okay.
So in short, I'm trying to tell people, let us embrace plant proteins.
Yeah.
Because it's just that we one day probably we'll do biochemistry with people, and we make them understand that plant proteins are really the best for people. Not that they should do without animal proteins, because animal proteins helps us in iron, helps us in forming the hemoglobin that is in our blood, the red coloring matter in our blood. So for losing weight, one discipline in that, you have to understand that for you to lose weight, 60 to 70% is your food. It is not the gym. The gym is 20 to 30%. The gym is to help you tone and get your muscle right. But you cannot get your muscle right if your muscles do not have food. So you have to tone your muscle fast with food, so that when you go to the gym and then the trainer will tell you do ABCD, then the body will be like, yes, we have the capacity to build. You see, the problem happens when most people go to the gym and nothing really happens. You've ever been to the gym?
No. But I've worked
You've ever worked out?
Yeah.
You've ever been in a situation where you've been in a strenuous activity and you feel part of your body is really exhausted because probably you worked it out more than another part. And the following day, you wake up with body cramps. It is normal, one, but you can avoid it. Not entirely, but you can avoid the occurrence. Because one, dehydration, when you're working out and your body is not in good water capacity, what really happens is that it tries to draw water from other sources. And when it finds that there was no food in the muscles, there was no food in the stores, then it's a go. It's a no. It's a no for you. So I do hope I have been able to clear out some areas on gaining weight. Especially gaining weight has really I don't know why people want to gain weight. We've found that thing. So many people want to gain weight rapidly, and it's not really healthy.
Yeah.
It's not really healthy.
Okay. What about intermittent fasting?
Intermittent fasting. I wouldn't really tell anyone to practice it. Because that is like telling yourself, I am going to stay 16 hours without food. Okay, personally, I wouldn't. No. But the first question I ask people, why would you stay 16 hours without food? Why do you want to stay 16 hours without food? Where do you think your body is drawing energy from if you stay 16 hours without food? Normally, a human being needs 2,000 to 2,500 kilocalories a day. and you're telling yourself you're going to attain all that kilocalories in one serving, impossible. You'll have to eat 3 meals in one setting for you to attain that energy level. And then you're telling me you want to stay 16 hours without food. It doesn't make sense to me, first of all. But secondly, if you really want to lose weight using intermittent fasting, or you really want to monitor your body with intermittent fasting, I would advise take small, frequent meals. It's a better option. People say that is expensive, but it's not. It's a matter of, if you do 3 meals a day, separate the 3 meals into the first meal, 2 meals. By the end of the day, you have 6 meals. It's the same meals. For example, if in the morning you're taking, let's use an example, most Kenyans would take tea and bread. So if you substitute the bread with mashed potatoes, so you can decide, I'll separate the mashed potatoes into 2. The first one I'll take it at 6 a.m. The second one I'll take it at 8 or 9. Now, I would receive complaints. I don't have the time, but we make time. If you want to do something, you actually make the time for it. So I'm not telling you to go and take mashed potatoes in the morning and then you go mash arrowroots and then you go. I'm not telling you. We're all working on a budget, and I cannot overstretch your budget. Probably the whole day you will eat potatoes, but you've eaten it 6 times, because you have to meet your kilocalories per day. For a woman, it is 2,000 to 2,200 kilocalories. For a man, is 2,200 to 2,500 kilocalories, because their composition, metabolism 1, through their composition is a bit higher. Their activity levels are higher. Their bone structures, their organs are actually larger than ours. So for women, we are allowed to take a bit less than theirs. So I wouldn't really advise somebody to do, unless you're really, really fasting. Why starve yourself for 16 hours while you have the option of having small, frequent meals? This goes in hand, when I mention intermittent, goes hand in hand with ketodiasis diet. It has really boomed in the society.
It has.
Where you eliminate the starch and then you eat a lot of proteins. I don't want to call it a lie. It works. For those, it works. But where are you getting your energy from? Your energy, basic science, we were taught. Carbohydrates, it's for energy. Proteins, it's for building. Vitamins and minerals are for protecting your body. So you're now dealing with building and protecting. Where are you removing your energy? Your energy will now come from the proteins. Because what happens to the body, just basic science, when you eliminate the carbohydrates, the body will now start going to itself, to the stores, and start checking, are there any carbohydrates that have been stored? So when you're continuing to do keto diet, you are now exposing the carbohydrates inside you. And then once they deplete, the body says, okay, we don't have any more energy in the body, so I think we're going to turn to you, protein, and you're going to be our energy. So it's going to be broken down so that it can meet the energy. And that's how people lose weight. Because the body the body goes to itself and checks. We are not getting energy from outside. So probably you're going to go to ourselves to check if there is any energy inside. That's really what happens even in intermittent. In those 16 hours. So you go and check and you're like, we're not getting food, but we need to be alive.
Yeah, so what I can hear you say is, even though it will work right now, it's not a good long-term plan.
Yeah, true. It's not a good long-term plan.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go now to diet. What should be the composition of food in my plate?
I think I started mentioning it earlier.
Yeah.
So in your plate, a standard plate,
Mm.
we usually say one serving. One serving, I mean one serving spoon.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm.
For one person. When I say one serving, I mean one serving spoon. So for carbohydrates, we are usually told in a day, have 6 to 11 servings. So if you're going to take rice the whole day, make sure you've taken 11 serving spoons of rice. To some, it does not make sense. But in a day, you're supposed to have 6 to 11 servings of carbohydrates.
Yeah.
That means if you're going to take ugali, this, how many times? 11. If you want to desire to have ugali the whole day, don't go to the sufuria and cook 1 kilogram of ugali and decide I'm going to have one sitting. No, just separate the whole ugali the whole day, and at least have at least 11 fifth size of ugali serving. That's the problem. When you say, that's why we tell people, go for that measuring serving spoon, because that's what we mean, one serving. Now, when it comes to things like drinks, one serving means 250 mLs. So it's a normal cup size. So if it's milk, that one. So for things like, we all know water. We are told have 8 glasses of water. However, it is advised, calculate your body water. Because the people who are told take 6 glasses of water, the people who are take 11 glasses of water. Because a short person and a tall person cannot have the same kind of glasses of water. and a obese person and a thin person cannot have it, because one will be drowning, one will be dehydrated. Yes. Yeah. So, and when it comes to proteins, recommended servings are 3 to 5 servings. So if you've decided to buy 1 kilo of meat, do not eat it, all of it. In fact, when we are saying servings, when you take that serving spoon and put it on you when you're going to serve, maybe it's meat, or maybe it's beans, black beans, dengu, whatever, plant proteins or animal proteins. Leave alone the products for animal proteins. We'll come to that. If it's meat, liver, kidneys, what are the other protein sources? But basically that chicken. Yeah. When you're going to serve
fish,
good. Probably at the end I'll ask you, what are the white meats and what are the red meats, so that you can see the misconception that happens. So when you're taking meat, personally, when I'm making a diet plan for someone, we tell them, go to that kitchen. If you're using a matchbox, 1 piece of meat should be that size, so that you can actually have 6 pieces of meat on your plate. If you're going to decide to cut into smaller, then you're not supposed to exceed at least 12 pieces. So in your serving, you're supposed to be having at least 12 pieces if you're going to have them small. If you're going to have them large, the size of a matchstick box, and it'll be roughly 6, because that, even though you're going to serve, it won't fit more than 6 or even 5. So when I'm telling you to have 3 to 5 servings of proteins, and you've decided today I'm going to eat meat alone, make sure you're having 5 serving spoons of meat. Probably you are fortunate enough to have different sources of proteins. 1 egg is 1 serving. So when you're having 3 or 4 eggs a day, you've already completed your servings of proteins. When it's what other women? Vegetables, we recommend 4 to 6. Some say 3 to 5, but sometimes we tell people have as much vegetables and fruits. Fruits we say 2 to 3, so you can have 3 fruits a day. At least have 2 fruits a day. It does not mean you need to have 2 different fruits, But if you can get 2 bananas, don't eat them all at once. Try to eat one in the morning, probably one in the evening. Sorry. Or if you want to have them all at once, there is no harm in drowning yourself in fruits and vegetables. However, we go back to metabolism. There are people whom the metabolism can allow them to have 10 fruits a day. But there are people whom the metabolism, they will really get choked in their body if they have more fruits. Because of, it's usually called mineral or vitamin toxicity. Having too much than required. If I get time, probably, I can be able to send you a chart for, they're usually measured in mgs. Every fruit, every mineral, every vitamin is measured in mgs, because this has very minute elements. It's not like starch, it's not like proteins. When you come to things like dairy products, maximum 2 to 3. Others say 3 to 4, but it's recommended at least 3, because people like The Rock, famous, he says he finishes a tray of eggs, and he gets away with it because of his metabolism and the activity he does. However, there's better options. There's always a better option. You don't have to finish 30 eggs. You have eaten triple the amount of servings you needed in a day. So unless your level of activity has reached to that point, don't drown yourself with eggs. Because especially in campus, I used to see people buy 3 or 4 trays and they stack it in the house, and then their job is in the evening, they cook half a kilo of ugali and they go beat 6 to 8 eggs, and they'll be like, this is my supper and I have to eat, I've not done anything. And then you'd look at them and you'd be like, and you expect to have a healthy body? Yes, they would have a healthy body, but the wrong way. But they will get away with it until someday, when now they are needed to be fathers and they realize, I've been eating so bad for the past 5 years. Because now we're going to talk about that. People think it's the woman who's supposed to be eating so that they can take care of the child. But no, 70% of the health of a child is from the father. If the father is wrong, the child is going to come out kind of deficient, because it is him who carries the genetic makeup that has the strength. Both of you are contributing, but you're like a pocket and he's like the the one who transmits. So he has to know what he's filling the pocket with. Yes, so in your plate, work with servings. If you can't discipline yourself, get measured serving spoons, measured cups. If you know truly you're going to be the person who's going to take 750 ml of milk, no, measure your cup, 250. Even the water, it's 250. If it's juice, 250. If you're going to blend your juice, 250. I've remembered about juice. One mistake we do, adding sugar. Not all sugars are natural.